Brian Powell of I Run Far here with Scott Jurek before the 2013 Leadville 100. First off, Scott, welcome back to competitive ultra running. You've had a little breakaway, right?
It was a little short hiatus, a year, basically. Yeah.
You ran Chuckanut last year, right? Or was that 2 years ago?
I think it was 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago. It was 2011, maybe.
So last time we saw a lot of you on the sort of the race scene was May, or it was like 2010. Mm-hmm. You ran. You set the American 24-hour record in May, I think it was, right?
Yes.
And then you ran White River, and you went to UTMB.
Yeah.
I think all that year, and then
what made 24-hour late in the season? In Taiwan and stuff. Yeah.
But you've kind of taken a break from the competitive scene for a little while. What led to that break? Was it doing the Born to Run thing, and then your Eat and Run?
Yeah, I mean, I was super busy with writing the book and getting out and promoting and just getting out and around and speaking, and it was great to get around across the country, areas where I don't normally get via racing. So it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of hard work, and it would have been really hard to maintain the racing schedule. And I have a couple more seasons in me, but I've always said after I turn 40, which is coming towards the end of the year, so next year I'll put in a season, and then I'll probably retire from really competitive stuff.
Gotcha. So there've been rumors floating around town that this was the finale, but it's not the finale. You can do a little more racing.
I don't think it's totally the finale. I still have some desires to do a 24-hour.
Okay.
I still have some unfinished business there, but yeah, it's kind of hard picking which races I want to do, and there's a lot of great events. There's a lot of great competition out there, but had to do the hometown course.
So what drew you to Leadville after so many years, a couple years away, and you have so many opportunities, I'm sure, to run what races you like.
I ran in 2004 when I did the Grand Slam, and
you were second that year.
I was second that year, and ran a decent race, but after running 15:36 at Western, then running Vermont, coming from sea level, 8 days at altitude really wasn't the way to do it. So I've always wanted to come back and just do it right.
Yeah.
So
What do you think you're capable of up here? I mean, the course is pretty much the same. There's a little change out by Winfield, but
yeah. Now that I've been living at altitude in Boulder and then being able to train up high, and I've been coming up here along with spending time up in the mountains up high, I'm feeling really good and ready to go. So I've always had in the back of my mind that sub 16 would be super sweet to run here. So I feel like everything's ready to go, and everything lines up, and just have a great race. And
you're looking very fit, and you paced Seb at Hard Rock, and you ran with Ryan Sands, and he said you were running out here on the course pretty well. And
yeah, it's been fun. I've always wanted to get back to the San Juan, so it was fun hanging out with Seb and running with him, and it's gotten me fired up about racing, because I haven't really raced coming into this one, running 50Ks, 50 milers. I feel like I've just got to save them now. At almost 20 years of ultra racing, I've kind of got to save those moments, and I didn't want to race too much. I just wanted to train and just have a solid build up.
So you haven't done any tune-up races?
I haven't. Yeah, besides pacing Seb and being in that element, but it's kind of fun. It's just a different approach for me. I used to race into shape and do a ton of racing, but I feel like I've always been running that fine line between. I think that's a big issue nowadays. There's so many races, so much competition, and a lot of
you can race from January through December.
Yeah,
which wasn't the case 10 years ago so much.
You could. I definitely chased them. Yeah, you had to travel a lot and chase the race scene a bit more, and now there's a lot of races that you can do quite easily. So, but yeah, it makes it fun.
Do you think? I mean, back in your days of running Western States, you really were doing a lot of trail stuff. Do you think doing the road 24-hour thing can help you run a race like Leadville? Has it changed your mental approach at all, or your
well, it's definitely a lot. It's definitely a lot. It's over a lot quicker. I mean, there's that element of not being on your feet for 24 hours. I mean, here at Leadville, if you can literally only run the morning hours of darkness and finish before daylight ends. So it's a little different than running 24 hours. I think the mental aspect too. Here you have to run hard, and there's not another 8 hours of running. So it's going to be interesting. And then you have the whole altitude factor, and Leadville just being the biggest 100-mile in terms of participants. There's a lot of excitement around it, so it's fun to be back.
Totally. Have you you live in Boulder now? Have you spent time up in Leadville, actually living up here for a couple weeks, or at different times? Or
I've been camping.
Yeah.
So Jenny and I have been basically camping. It was really hard to find a place to rent and stuff, so we were like, we're just gonna go old school style. I mean, before Western States, I always used to camp a week and a half before the race, and it was my time to just chill out and kind of unplug for a while. So it's been fun returning to that. It gets a little trickier with thunderstorms every day, and sometimes 4 or 5 hours of rain like it had been last week, which is really cold. And I mean, we even got snow up high at 12,000 feet here.
Wow.
All the peaks
not that much higher than
dusted.
Town.
Yeah, so it's it makes it a little bit more interesting, but yeah.
One thing that's happened over the last couple of years with you, you've really turned into an icon of the sport. Was that something that you maybe worked toward, or is it something that was thrust upon you? Or, I mean, you're really a visible face of ultra running at this point.
I've kind of done my thing over the years, and I guess it's a role that is, I've kind of fallen into. I've always tried to feel like, I think it's part of ultra running too, giving back to the community, and I've always been embedded, whether it's volunteering at races or speaking, and just running with people and being accessible. And I think that's really the essence of the sport, and it's something I've done throughout my career, and now maybe with things like Born to Run and even my own book and just the popularity
being able to travel,
sport. Yeah, the popularity of the sport has grown, and for me it's important to like get out there and inspire people, not just to run ultramarathons, but just have fun with running and eat better and just live a better lifestyle. And to me, that's, I think, my more important role versus just being like the face of ultra running, is to just inspire people and just be out in the scene and have fun. But it's a great community, so it's been special.
One of the aspects, aside from your running, you're really well known for is your nutrition. And what is your nutrition plan for a race like Leadville?
Yeah, I mix in, I obviously incorporate the sports food. So I do the Cliff blocks, the Cliff shot gel, and the drinks, but I'm also doing things like rice balls. I even had a recipe in my book for that. Some people have tried that. I do the bananas, the potatoes. I even do bean and rice burritos. So I like to mix up the real food along with the sports food. And then, of course, hydration is really key in a race like Leadville, because you've got the altitude factor and the dryness here. Just being this high, it's really easy to lose control of that. And a lot of people don't realize how much fluid they're going through because it just evaporates.
You may never feel you're sweating, but you will.
Exactly. And it's forecasted to be in low 70s, maybe mid 60s, and it's really hard at those temps to feel like, oh, I'm not sweating that much, but you end up sweating. So it's a mix of like monitoring the fluids, basically getting the carbohydrate, and of course doing enough electrolytes in those too.
Yeah. On the training side, when did you sort of make a switch? You said you sort of couldn't maintain a balance of doing all the work for your book and training. When did you get back into training mode?
I'd say in earnest, like last year I did, train. It was fun last year. I just did a lot of like fun run-ins in the mountains. I didn't really have an agenda, but it was definitely more haphazard. It was nothing specific. And I think it kind of refreshed me. So getting back basically really this winter in January, February, I kind of really got the bug again. And it's hard to do after doing something for 20 years. And I love to run and just go out training, but it's a different element when you have to go train with a specific agenda and goal in mind. And for me, I got fired up about it. So starting January, February, and then it really started clicking a few months ago where I'm like, okay, I'm getting back into stride, getting the faster workouts in, the harder workouts in the mountains. And
it must have felt great. I mean, after you ran so well for so many years in a row, that it must be like a new feeling to have that progression back into fitness.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, I always enjoy taking 4 to 6, almost sometimes 8 weeks off every season. I think that's what's helped me longevity wise. But I do envy like some of the guys. I mean, like Mike Morton coming back after a 8-10 year hiatus. I don't have that that much of a break, which you kind of come back even fresher. But a year break has been good, even though there's a lot of just a different stress on the body, and different ultra marathons, so to speak,
totally.
Like traveling and speaking and doing all the things I did.
But,
yeah, it's fun.
Did you have any certain workout or run or week that you did feel like I'm on again? I'm there.
I'd say actually probably a week and a half ago I did a 40-mile run up here, and I was just feeling like, okay, things are clicking. I'm ready to race hard. And I felt that way for the past 6 to 8 weeks. And pacing at Hard Rock was another indication of like being up high and just consistently all night long. Running 44 miles that course just gave me confidence of like, okay, I'm ready to go.
Yeah. So Leadville is a big mix of roads and trail and flat and descent. What shoes are you gonna lace up?
I'm gonna run in the Brooks Pure Grit 2.
Pure Grit 2.
So it's really kind of the perfect mix for this type of course. I mean, in a lot of ways, it's a good mix of everything I've been doing over the past 10 years of just mountain trails, single track, dirt roads, 2-track, to even paved roads. So I think it's a good mix. And as much as like the minimal trend, it's always been that fine balance. I've raced in racing flats for all of my road ultra marathons and even some of my trail stuff. So I think it's got the great mix of being low profile, not too much of a shoe, but enough to add enough cushioning and enough protection with a nice rugged
those
outsole.
long downhills.
Yeah. So it'll be fun.
Well, have fun out there, Scott.
Thanks. It's great to be
seeing
back.
you around. Yeah. Hopefully we'll see you for another year or two around.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm getting another season or so.
Cool.
For sure.
And one bonus question for you, Scott, from a reader. You gonna wear a headband on Saturday?
Oh yeah,
you got shorn. But
I'm going full old school bandana, red bandana style. So.
Red bandana, all right.
I'm bringing back Easter.
Old school.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool.